over the time from like the 80s to today, can you recall like any milestones where Phuket, really started to open up? Was it late 90s, like well before obviously the tsunami, but was there like a catalyst that like really unlocked Phuket?
No, I wouldn't say so. I came here from time to time. At that time, I was living in Bangkok, right? So for the first 12 years. And it grew organically. We're growing tourism. There were quite a number of people that didn't like Pattaya so much because Pattaya was at that time also already quite commercial. And it had this image, Torre del Mar in Spain, Rimini in Italy, these places, Mallorca, where mass tourism goes, drinks a lot, and does a lot of other things. People started to dislike Pattaya, so they were looking for more serene places, beauty, natural beauty, untouched beaches. So it started actually with Koh Samet, which is south of Pattaya, and then it gradually moved downwards to places that had similar environments. So that's how Phuket started to grow. So Patong grew bigger, and then the first hotel groups got interested in Phuket, and they looked at places that were really beautiful. So I think the earliest after Patong was Qatar, right? Going in line a little bit with Caron, but Qatar was the Club Med got interested. There was a place in Qatar called the Boathouse.
Yeah, that's still there, yeah.
Yeah, that's still there. It has been sold many times and it has been upgraded, but it was what was there before. So, yeah.
Yeah, we had a guy on the podcast. He was a journalist for a paper in the 90s, late 90s, and he was here in the late 80s. His name was Steve Ross. And he said he was working down at the boathouse there, and that was pretty much all that was down there at the time. And it was mostly, he was saying, like, it would be the royalty coming and going. It was much more high class. And
yeah, it's true. It's true. And then the West Coast was developed much earlier than the East Coast. The East Coast was more for local people, right? And then the West Coast was where all the beautiful beaches were. But mind you, even 10 years ago, there was nothing in the north. Where you have now Mai Khao and Naiton, that wasn't there 10, 15 years ago.
Interesting to see now the development here in Phuket. And I mean, even this current high season, I think this is probably the busiest it's been since I can remember. I mean, it's the roads are just jam-packed now.
Yeah. Well, pre-COVID, I think it was even more. Mind you, the Chinese cannot travel, so a lot of people, a lot of buses are not going around. However, it has. Comparing it with the COVID times, it is much better now.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this content, we're doing 5 clips like this a week. If you want to watch the full podcast, click here.